The Roaring Twenties were a miracle of motion. Assembly lines humming, skyscrapers slicing the skyline, credit unraveling the future into monthly payments. By 1928, the United States glowed with confidence. Industrial output had surged, Wall Street glittered. Consumer gadgets, radios, refrigerators, automobiles, hooked households into a cycle of buying that seemed unstoppable. But beneath the sheen were fissures. Wealth was concentrated at the top. Wages for many workers had barely budged. Farms, the backbone of Middle America, carried chronic debt. Much of the market's rise was built on borrowed money. Speculation on margin, small banks stretched thin, and a growing web of short-term credit. The international monetary system, the gold standard, constrained central bankers. And global trade, while large, left industries exposed to foreign competition and volatile capital flows. It is here we begin our counterfactual. Imagine the 1928 presidential election turning not on the comfortable competence of the Republican establishment, but on an outsider voice, a brash, populist businessman touting a blunt message: America first. Part 1. The Campaign and the Calm Before the Storm. In this alternate 1928, Herbert Hoover represents continuity, a technocratic Republican, Secretary of Commerce, promising efficiency and stability. Opposite him, Donald Trump, recast as a populist outsider of the era, rides a different current. He calls out factories closing in Midwestern towns, waterfronts where cheap imports undercut wages, and the global elites who, in his rhetoric, profit while the average American toils. Trump's economic platform centers on 3 pillars that will frame his early months in office: aggressive protectionism, an unprecedented national infrastructure push, and a confrontational posture toward international finance. First, protectionism. Campaigning as a successor to protectionist instincts already present in the era, Trump promises sky-high tariffs on manufactured imports, a Smoot-Hawley-like package, but touted as immediate and sweeping. The message is simple and visceral: raise the price of foreign goods, revive American factories, and restore pride and jobs to industrial towns. Economically, the appeal is immediate to certain constituencies. Tariffs can shelter domestic producers from low-cost competition and generate government revenue. But protectionism also reshuffles economic incentives. It raises consumer prices, invites retaliation, and can slow export demand for sectors that rely on foreign markets. In a world already bound by fragile credit and thin margins, the timing of such a shock matters, and politicians in 1929 are about to discover how much. Second, infrastructure. Trump's rallies brim with visual promises: steel bridges, gleaming public buildings, monumental skylines. He pledges a federal program of massive public works, highways, bridges, ports, and the kind of civic grandeur that will put Americans back to work and modernize the country. This policy sits at the crossroads of competing economic theories. On one side is a proto-Keynesian intuition: use government spending to offset private sector weakness. Yet in 1929, Keynesian macroeconomics has not yet taken full hold in policy circles. Moreover, the United States still operates under the constraints of the gold standard. Large-scale borrowing by the federal government will have monetary and balance of payments implications. Financing an ambitious infrastructure push requires either higher taxes, increased borrowing from domestic investors, or attracting foreign capital, all of which interact with prices, interest rates, and the fragile banking system. The third pillar is a rhetorical and practical assault on global finance. Trump's campaign frames foreign financiers and international capital as culprits in domestic decline. He promises to take back control of American money and to prioritize national industry over foreign creditors. That posture, while politically potent, complicates the international flows that the American economy relies upon in the late 1920s. Against the predictions of many establishment figures, Trump wins the 1928 election. His victory shocks Wall Street and Washington. The business elite that expected a leader like Hoover instead faces an unpredictable outsider promising rapid and radical shifts. Markets that had priced in continuity now must price in uncertainty. The immediate reaction is twofold. Domestically, workers and some manufacturing bosses cheer the promise of protection and public works. Financial markets, however, wobble, uncertain about trade reprisals, inflationary pressures from government spending, and the potential for sudden capital movements. Internationally, foreign governments and investors watch warily. By October 1929, strains accumulate. Stock prices, long divorced from company fundamentals, show jittery behavior as margin calls ripple through brokerage houses. Banks, exposed to construction loans and speculative shares, tighten credit. Agricultural distress deepens. The new administration's rhetoric hardens. In speeches, Trump points to global elites and foreign speculators as scapegoats for market tremors. Markets listen, but markets also test the limits of policy. Can tariffs and public construction anchor confidence when credit is withdrawing? We end part one in October of that fateful year, not yet on the day that would be remembered as Black Tuesday, but at the turning point. The foundations beneath the roaring facade are cracking. The interplay of protectionist shock, large-scale deficit financing, speculative excess, and the constraints of the gold standard has set the stage for a dramatic economic unspooling.